I just got to give it up for my man Dan. You know, there's a lot of good people that do branding, and Dan's not the only one. But I asked Dan, you know, I went to Dan because there's not very many companies that have been more profound on building a one-to-the-ticket average conversion rate and attracting the employees I wanted than Dan and what they did. And Terry and Gina and the whole squad over there, they're just on fire. And I asked Dan, Dan did not come to me. I went to Dan and I said, I want to invest in your business. So full disclosure, I love Dan, and I will tell you, there's other people out there that do this, but the fact is, and I wish I had the PowerPoint slides, but he's fixed so many things. And at first I was like, dude, I'm not paying you that kind of money. And then he's like, that's my price. So I paid him. And then he's like, I got these invoices for 10 grand, 5 grand. And I was explaining this yesterday. And I just said, Dan, is there any way to pay you monthly and you just handle the newspaper ads, the Clipper magazine, the new Valpak I need to create? I want you to do the new website content. They designed my website, a1garage.com, like KickCharged did, because I needed the brand to flow. The yard signs, KickCharged. The great billboard. I'm literally getting, like, my marketing team's like, we're not doing that. I'm like, yes, we are. Sure, it's a great view, but what about your garage? I guess Terry came up with that. And I'm like, we're just gonna put it on the busiest intersections in Phoenix and Tucson. But this is what they came up. I don't really like the picture. My butt's actually a lot smaller than that, but the point is, I gotta give it up. Is Dan here? Dan, come up here real quick. You know, this dude texts me every day he works out. I don't know how far he rides his bike. He went through a triple heart bypass, looked at death in the eye, and I don't think anybody cares about brands more than KickCharge and his team. I went out and visited them before I had anything to do with them. They welcomed me in, they lived their brand. He speaks at all the shows now. He's become one of the best speakers I've ever seen on stage. And he doesn't just make up numbers, he gives you facts. And I said, Dan, we gotta do something monthly, because quite frankly, Valpak sucks, their artists suck. Clipper sucks, my internal people suck. So I repurposed them, but I was able to get rid of 3 people that were doing the worst design work I've ever seen. So can you explain your program that you guys designed? And thank you, I love you.
So one of the reasons why we put this program together is one of the saddest things we were seeing sometimes is we would develop these brands for companies, and then they would hire us to do maybe just the logo and the truck wrap and maybe a couple other things, and then they'd go on to implement it, and they'd have people implementing their brand that didn't know anything about branding. And so I would see an ad on Facebook, or they would post something with their second truck that they didn't use us to adapt the design with, and I was like, dude, the font's all wrong, the colors are wrong, like what the hell happened? We just invested thousands and thousands of dollars on developing a brand, and now all of a sudden, the shit doesn't match. And it's making me crazy, right? Because in as much as it's your brand, it's my baby, okay? So when I see my baby certainly not looking the way I intended to do, it makes me sad. So we said, let's figure out a way that we can continue to help people with their brands on an ongoing basis, so no matter what, no matter where that customer sees your brand, it is exactly the way it was designed and intended to be. So this program's been great because it also allows you to just spread out payments over the course of time, so you're not laying out all this money up front. So it's been great, and it just, listen, like you said, we care so much about the brands that we create. We want to make sure that everything is on brand and always speaking about who you guys are as a company. And it's more than just fonts, it's more than just colors, it's everything that your company stands for. And it's just so great to be able to make sure that that stuff looks the way it does. And I'm sad that the billboard's gone. We had a different headline originally. It was about Tommy's ass, it said originally, but he asked me to change it, and I think it's a little bit better like that. But
it is, it's great.
It's all good, man.
Thank you so very much, brother. Appreciate you. Dan, give it up for KickCharge. Yeah, these guys, they're salt of the earth. Somebody's willing to bet their entire family on their business, the future generations of their grandkids. But they still drive around with a shitty brand. And you know what they tell me? They say I get enough business and my vans are just white. And I'm like, and he's got this photo of all the shitty brands and one at the supply house with his brand. And man, what a big difference. I just gotta tell you guys,